Hi guys, this is Fast on Fact. So the breaking news today is Ursula Owusu, the former member of parliament for Ablekuma West, has decided to put herself out there one more time. Guys, Ursula Owusu, the former minister of communication, guys, the very woman who helped our communication ministry, unlike someone Jester George, who is now moving up and down as if he's doing something. But we're not seeing shishi. Guys, Ursula Owusu intends to contest for the general secretary position of the New Patriotic Party. Guys, this is so daring. This is a very bold step. And I'm sure for the first time, if she's able to win, we'll have a female general secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Guys, this woman is daring. If you know Ursula Owusu, her body language, her utterances should tell you that she's a very confident woman. I cannot wait. Guys. This Fast on Fact. Let me know what you think about this new development. Signing out. Hi guys, this Fast on Fact. So the internal primary for the election of a new flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party going into election 2028 is really getting intense. Guys, the race is getting spicy. Some aspirants are throwing some jabs here and there against each other. And just as you know, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is at the receiving end of all the blunt from all the aspirants, including Kennedy Akomprekwe Japan, Brian Champon, just to mention but a few. Of course, you know the likes. Guys, the truth of the matter is that as the race is getting intense, some aspirants have their supporters, and their supporters have been expressing their views about this particular contest. Now, there is no doubt that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the one being attacked because he was the representative of the New Patriotic Party in election 2024. And as we speak, all the aspirants, Kennedy Akomprekwe Japan in particular, and his camp have been blaming Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for being the reason why the New Patriotic Party lost election woefully to the NDC or the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama. Guys, all these allegations have come up. Some ascribe it to the religious and the tribal game when it comes to our politics or body politicking. Now, Brian Champon, some weeks ago, blamed Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for being the reason why they lost because he is a Mapusi man. Here we are. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is now being blamed for conceding earlier to save the whole nation from a chaotic situation. Now, Kennedy Akomprekwe Japan is of the view that he as a person wouldn't have conceded earlier, knowing very well that he had lost to John Mahama. Now, some Ghanaians seem not to understand why Kennedy will say that, because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia essentially saved the whole nation from a chaotic situation, because as a party, you should be able to collate your results. And what we are picking is that at the time Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had declared or conceded defeat to John Mahama, he knew very well ahead of time that they had lost. So there's no reason to keep the whole nation, all right, from this whole situation, because it was getting more intense. Now there's an interesting development coming from some delegates who are ardent supporters of Kennedy Japan. Now, in 2023, these are the people who declared no can, no vote. And as we speak, the no can, no vote is still a mantra or slogan that has been pushed. Now, this gentleman had a lot to say about the no can, no vote agenda. It's as if they were hip in line to campaign against a New Patriotic Party. Guys, as we speak, the no can, no vote agenda is still on grounds. And this gentleman made an admission to the fact that in 2024, the no can, no vote agenda was indeed geared towards ensuring the New Patriotic Party lose woefully. And listen to this gentleman.
Mobati Bibi said no care, no vote.
Yeah. Okay, now Kasa campaign.
Yes. In fact, ye Juma etia NPP.
I am no care, no vote.
Sure.
After see Iba Uniano.
Sure.
For ye Juma tia NPP. Sebe NPP Winiana.
Say no care, no vote. No showdown. No.
Okay.
And the showdown is say yaka enkwaya kasa keke. Ye Bibi na ewiasa fa na nyina hu say nokure ye wotumi a yetumi ye den. Ediye bibi.
Enti mo ye den.
Enti ye campaigning against Osono MPP party no na baby bia nso a na MP a owo ho e support Dr. Bawumia no ye edwuma tia no.
I see.
Enti Okankwe South ubo midi uko Okankwe South a obi a opua ma Okankwe South ye call opposition.
AYɛ Butu and surprising news. Madam Ursula Owusu, former MP and former Minister for Communication, declared say Nyamicha will more declare say will be happy to applique forms for party elections or be pre a general secretary. And Madam Ursula Owusu asma work on. But you know, in all this, my 2 cents is that I don't know about Madam Ursula Owusu becoming, you know, the general secretary. I don't see the prospect of it. She's been one of the women I will prove in her say as a hardworking woman, you know, a gallant member of the NPP. We're proving her say and she has proven herself amongst in the society of men. Say she has the potential, she has the ability. Now you say as a communications minister, not to say we handle wedding, right? You know, we saw this Ghana card issue and some about all these telecell homes and some buy in or handle on we can compare that to some judges. Then again, it comes down to is that a fitting position for her? As far as I'm concerned, I don't think that's a fitting position for her. But I don't know about others. But her work ethic, her capability to handle leadership roles is never in doubt. So in all this, I'm wishing her good luck. I'm hoping say all the other candidates. I'm not sure Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia Jumaiya na say we meet me assistant platform the Dina. Say me support you, be I support you. Before the time being, because of the name of the on the platform, you know, I cannot be seen supporting other people. My catch him say I am dedicating myself to Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. But until then, say you be Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud. 31st January, I be declared Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia means meet me. I use platform the other political agenda no. I just say Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia and boni the Uhundero. But again, Madam Ursula Owusu has declared the intentions to contest the general secretary position for the NPP come next year when nominations are open. Medamasi, Macron.
Breaking news. Minority of Ghana's parliament rejects the acquisition of Tigo by Telecel. Guys, the minority have accused Samuel Jatta George, the Minister of Communication, of some underhand dealings. Guys, the minority seem not to understand why a whole minister will reject a more juicy proposal from a company called Electoral and settle for Telecel Ghana. Guys, this is quite questionable. According to minority of Ghana's parliament. Guys, according to the minority of Ghana's parliament, this particular attempt by Samuel Jatta George lacks transparency, is full of secrecy. In fact, is shrouded by a lot of secrecy. Because tell me how you will reject 150 million proposal with some 1 billion investment plan for over 5 years and settle for Telecel's proposal. Guys, this same Samuel Jatta George in 2023 rejected a proposition by Ursula Owusu for trying to also go ahead with a similar deal. And Samuel Jatta George had these things to say to the media. Guys, have a listen.
Well, we want to use this opportunity to serve notice to any foreign investor that they must be very careful of signing any deals. Because if they think that they are buying any asset that belongs to the Ghanaian people, without the proper parliamentary approval, we can assure them that that agreement is going to be null and void in any court of law in any jurisdiction of this country, because the Constitution of Ghana is clear. If you go and buy stolen goods, you can't say that because you bought stolen goods from the brother of the owner of the goods, it validates it. If the laws of Ghana say that when you are buying a state asset and you are an international company, it must come to Parliament, and you decide to go and buy from a minister without coming to Parliament, well, buyer beware.
Interesting. So the proposed company called Electoral all right, has actually proposed $150 million capital injection into Airtel Tigo. Guys, you and I are aware that those who use Airtel Tigo, their data is so bad. And Retron is here to save them with $150 million capital injection. And guys, they have also outlined a $1 billion long-term investment plan to expand Airtel Tigo's network modernization infrastructure and strengthen their 4G and 5G capacity over 5 years. And this same St. George has rejected this proposal and has settled for a $50 million deal by Telecel. Like, don't have anything to hide. Why will you settle for a $50 million deal as against $150 million with some $1 billion investment plan? Like, tell me if there's something to hide. If this allegation by minority of Ghana's parliament turns out to be true, I am expecting Samuel Jatta George to come and answer. In the accountability series, we want certain answers. We want the minister to address some of these things because this is quite questionable in my point of view. This is Facts of Facts. Let me know what you think about this new development. Signing out.
Is a situation where you want to mimic. And you notice that post the enactment of the Political Parties Act 2000 Act 574, the political parties that have been formed subsequently, the law does not allow you to reverse it. So I remember this conversation came out strongly when our founder, may his great soul rest in peace, Jerry Rawlings, when Mrs. Kunedu decided to set up her political party, that was the Democratic something.
NDP. National Democratic Party.
You see, we have NDC.
Yes.
And she wanted NDP. And so I remember vividly that it was a topical conversation that she crafted the name in that particular way, basically for the sole purposes of creating confusion in the minds of voters. And sometimes it is not only the name, even the symbol. Maybe the NDC has the eagle. The person can just bring the vulture.
On the umbrella.
On the umbrella. Just to create distortion, because again, whether you like it or not, we still have a large rural populace. The level of sophistication changes with the demographics. And it will interest you to note that even with all our sophistication and 32 years of doing this democratic experiment, we still have spot ballot papers in the region of almost 200,000, the last election, spot. You can imagine, with all the education that we have done, we still have people spoiling their ballot. Just a matter of just doing a thumbprint on a candidate. 200,000 of our people. And in fact, if you check the last election result, if you put all the minority political parties together and all the votes they obtained, spot ballot political party had more votes than them.
True. Absolutely.
You understand? The political party registered as spot ballots attracted more votes at the last election than the registered political parties who spent money campaigning. So what it tells you is that a little mimicking can have potential damaging thing. But that's significantly different
from this UP plus.
From the UP plus. Because in this case, there's no registered political party in Ghana today called UP. The only reference to UP is that sometime in our political history, we had a political grouping called the UP. Since 1992, we've never had any political party by name UP. And like we always say, in terms of the law, you cannot say you have that exclusive because in the past there was some association called UP. In any case, which one of the members of the NPP today completely were members of the UP at that time? Very few. Zato, I'm not sure. Not any one of us here. And so the suggestion, even remotely, that you can take charge of the UP as an intellectual property, quote unquote, of the NPP as constituted today is completely misleading and should not be encouraged.
Look, let's go by history. You've shown us some numbers that the third forces or third party candidates have performed over the years. And indeed, in the recent elections, we had performance of third parties and also independent candidates. Now, at the time he contested, he was not a political party. It was a movement. And we don't know yet whether transforming itself from movement to political party will change the dynamics. But if you look at what happened in the last election, you could see that his impact was negligible.
That is Alan Chamanten's impact, you described it as negligible.
In the last election, yes.
But and that's the question that you started with, that whether his fortunes will change now that he's moved from a movement into a full-blown political party, because that negligible performance is reflected in this picture. At least, let's narrow it down to the Ashanti region, and I'll come to the bigger picture of what happened nationwide. But in the Ashanti region, which has been described as his home region, this is the performance of Alan Chamanten in the 2024 elections, as you provided. 0.21%. That's 4,224 nominal terms. The NPP lost over 429,000 votes in the Ashanti region. And we compare this to all that you have been putting out prior to the elections. And Alan Chamanten did not really take a chunk or contribute to the chunk that the NPP lost in the Ashanti region. With this 4,254, as against the over 429,000 votes that the NPP lost in the Ashanti region. That's his home region. So what happened?
Right. There were some expectations that he would do well among NPP voters in the Ashanti region, and perhaps among people who were voting for other parties in the Ashanti region, and maybe the floating in the Ashanti region. But what happened in the exit poll, I mean in the poll that was done after the election to see who was voting for who in Ashanti region, you could see that among people who are floating voters, Bawumia actually won the floating in Ashanti region, but around 70%.
Dr. Bawumia won the floating voters
in Ashanti region.
In Ashanti region,
70%. Alan got only 1%, about 0.7%, and the other candidates got 3.4%. So the other candidates, Cheddar and Co, did better than in terms of the exit poll than Alan. Now, if you look at those who were voting for other parties in Ashanti region, Alan actually got zero, nearly zero.
Zero?
Yes. So I was thinking that the other parties would probably gravitate towards Alan in the Ashanti region, but that didn't happen.
Right. It's interesting development in there. And you look at the Ashanti region picture, because it's important, is it not?
Yes.
Being the home region of Alan Chamanten. And in fact, when he broke away from the NPP, there were many